Hello, I'm Micah with the 13 on your side's 13 help team, and it's been nearly 7 months since a water main break flooded homes off of Allerton Avenue and Philadelphia Avenue on Grand Rapids' southeast side. To this day, over a dozen households are still dealing with the impacts of that June break, and we're here to talk more about those impacts and how neighbors feel about how the city of Grand Rapids has handled the aftermath. I'm joined by 8 of those neighbors now, and we've invited them to the 13 on your side studio for a sit-down discussion. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We are here to talk about the June water main break and subsequently yesterday's water main break. Everybody in this circle has been impacted in one way or another by the June water main break, and so we're here tonight to kind of discuss what your communications and what your experience has been with not only the city, but the impacts of everything. So I'm not sure who really wants to talk first, but my first question is, how has everybody been doing since June?
It's a really wide open question.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Larry.
It's been a psychological maze. And there's nothing worse than the uncertainty of knowing if anybody's going to come help, or me losing my home due to black mold or sinkholes. It's just it's doing a lot of psychological damage.
I'd like to say it's been time consuming. We spent hours and actually weeks putting together this claim application into the city's computerized system, and we spent a lot of time on that, only to get a form letter at the end of August, just a form letter denying the claim. And I've spent a lot of time going to city commission meetings, working with West Michigan Together, and at the end of August, just a form letter denying the claim. And I've spent a lot of time going to city commission meetings, working with West Michigan Together, and that whole thing with downtown, and not knowing what's going to happen, and I'm just getting tired of it. Actually, I'm just getting tired. And then driving home last night from Muskegon, or teach at Muskegon Community College, I drive down the hill at 10:30, and oh, here are the city trucks, so they're flashing lights again. I thought, oh God, here we go again.
Oh great, road closed,
I'm
water.
tired of it. That's my experience.
It's frustrating. It's depressing. We're in the process of trying to get a pod. We have no space to put anything. And you go downstairs, you have the smell, you have nothing. I have nothing downstairs. It's depressing going downstairs. I'm used to going downstairs. My furniture is there, my TV is there. We got the exercise stuff. There's nothing downstairs. It's depressing. So it messes with your psyche, your emotional roller coaster, and then you're frustrated. And then you're wondering, wait a minute, we're citizens. We shouldn't have to go through this. We pay our taxes. What are you doing for us? You're supposed to represent us. You're not doing anything to help compensate for your errors. So it's just a lot of frustration, anger.
I think for Brian and I, obviously we had about 3 or 4 feet of water in our basement, so really everything that was down there was stripped and removed. But I think for Brian and I, we had to put a lot of out-of-pocket expenses just to clean our house and get it sanitized to prevent mold from growing. But that was a lot of our own personal savings of years and years that we had set for other things in our life. And within the last, a few years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had to go through treatment, and the result of that was infertility, which we had money saved to.
There was, and I think that's what we all talked about. And Larry, actually, I think you touched on it with me back in maybe 2 or 3 months ago, that not only has this taken a monetary toll, but it's also taken a psychological toll on practically, probably all of you.
I mean, we had to stop our family planning. Like, we were going to start that process this past year, and that the cost that we had to just to clean our house, and now we have to fix our home. We're tens of thousands out, and that was the money that we were going to use to start our family. And now we are, of course, we're upset about the things that we lost in our basement and the damage that we have to do, but we're having to push out like our family. And I think that is what's getting lost with the city. And they're hiding behind a governmental immunity, but they're not realizing that could be people's retirement, could be people's just years of savings to do whatever they wanted to do. That's their hard-earned money. Our family, it's...
She's absolutely right.
It's like Mary said, it's very frustrating. Sometimes there's a lot of anger inside. You know, it comes and goes. It's just, and yeah, there's a lot of, you get tired of it. You're dealing with it. You know, just the other day I was with my son, we were walking around and we went to go check out the latest break. And I was just like, you know, it's just tiring. We never ever thought last June that it would be, you know, January 2025 and we would still be, you know, trying to work through this whole thing with the city. But the dishonesty from the city, in the sense that we've being misled, where, you know, once the water receded, the workers on the ground that took care of that were trying to like get the road drained, get everything taken care of, those are the people that were they were on it and they were helpful.
Right.
It's the up levels that
Upper
cause the
echelon.
frustration, because, you know, we had people come by, here's the form, you know, file a claim with the city, here's the documentation, the instructions to do it. So, but it was very vague. When you would call risk management to ask questions, one person dealing with all that stuff, fielding our questions, one person. You know, and then we, you know, we're like calling to get all this information together. We get it submitted, and then, like, you know, we get that letter. And we all got it on the
Same day?
The
Same
gentleman
day,
Walter across the street from us got his letter first, and he got it like the day before we did. And he called Scott up and he said, "They're claiming immunity. They're not going to do anything." And Scott's like, "Well, you know, maybe it's you know, misinterpreted." Blah, blah, blah. And then we all get our letters, and we're all of a sudden our phones are all dinging because we all are opening up our mail. Phones are dinging, and I was just.
It was like a slap in the face.
It was.
Yeah.
It's like, you misled us.
You know,
It's like they had no intention. They just wanted us to go through the
They did.
motions and had no intention of doing anything.
And the
But
actions after, too, is what I really think. Because they can say a standard, we have governmental immunity, and that's what it is. But it wasn't until we all showed up to the commissioners' meeting and we all spoke up that they were like, oh, they're actually going to take action. Let's get them together in a room. And it was those actions after that they really led us to believe that they were going to hear us out, they were going to be there for us, they were going to provide resources, and they were very persistent of, we welcome any sort of lawyer meetup. We encourage that. We want you guys to do that. We want you guys
No,
to come
they
meet up
told
with
us to
us.
get your lawyer and have
And
them
they
contact
kept
our
asking
lawyer.
the
Mark
next
Washington specifically
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kept asking in the next commissioner meetings, hey, do you have any update on this? Finally, we get the information, and it's a closed gate.
Remember at the meeting when they said, well, we will provide resources for you. And they gave us this list, and I said, well, first of all, we're retired.
Yeah.
We don't qualify for any
Yeah,
of
that's
these dollars.
We're a two-income household.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of you touched on that during that kind of the same, we were all sitting in a circle.
We said that like 3 times, and then they sent it to us in an email saying, well, this is these are the resources. Oh, yeah. But they're the same ones that we told them we didn't qualify for.
And the timing was terrible.
Yes.
They could have given us those resources. They know they have those resources from day one of the flood. So the fact that they give it to us in August, months after everything happened.
After we spoke up.
After they said, well, we needed to take time to pull together these resources.
Which,
Yeah. It was just a list.
had they given it to us sooner, maybe someone could have benefited from it. But most people had already started purchasing some of their big mechanicals. People had already purchased a vehicle because you can't go months without cars when you're working, when you have a family. You know, so it was a slap in the face, and it was unbelievable.
And no one ever made an effort, even after all the news coverage, no one from the city ever made an effort to like, hey, let's just, we want to understand what happened down here, so let's take a look at the damage that your home and your property have sustained. And
I was going to ask you, has anyone from our ward, the commissioners from our ward, have they ever asked to visit your basement or to look at anything?
no, just when they initially did that little walk around the
To
neighborhood.
hand out a flyer about a meeting?
Yeah, I think I wasn't home. I was walking the dog. My
Miss
husband was
Purdue
home.
and Bingoey.
Yeah, and they did a little walk around, and they never said, hey,
Can
we'd
we
like to see the
damage?
No.
No. Okay.
And that's really what we wanted them to do, was come and have a visual of what we're suffering through.
Yeah.
And no
Just
fault of
making
our
this-
own.
Right.
You get
It's not a
to
pipe in my house.
Oh, you did, yeah.
see firsthand. I
Came
mean, especially
downstairs.
when coming into my home.
Yeah.
You just told me, I don't think I can come in your house anymore.
Yep. I called Larry the other day, and I said that, hey, when the last time we did a story at your house, which was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, I coughed for about 2 days afterwards.
Oh,
My
really?
asthma was acting up, which
Yes.
hasn't happened in a few years. And so I told Larry, I said, I don't think I can come in, if we ever do a story again, I don't think I can come inside because I just kept coughing and I kept coughing. And I was coughing when I was in your house.
And
I think we were only in there for an hour.
And I literally am just getting over like a respiratory infection, and that's what I'm living through. And you got to remember, I got a 5-year-old daughter that's
Right.
actually in the same house as this, and we're breathing this in, and the air quality is so poor.
Terrible.
And I don't know how the city can see this and say,
Sorry.
yeah,
They don't
Yeah.
care.
yeah. it
We have
doesn't-
immunity. Sorry.
I want to touch on that meeting when all of you guys were in a circle. And Mark Washington said that they took, around 2 months to come out with that letter because they wanted to be able to make sure that governmental immunity either applied or didn't apply. And then I think he said later that they should have denied the claims much sooner so that this process could have gone faster. What was your guys' response to what Mark Washington said during that meeting?
I know at one point I had to walk out because I was so furious with him. I was very, very furious, and I was afraid that I was going to say something I would regret. So I left the room for a little bit and cooled down. What I found frustrating is the information that they were sharing did not seem accurate. When they talked about when the water when it actually broke, oh, that was probably like 2:30 or 3. No, there's no way that my basement, there's no way that me getting up at 4:15 in the morning, there's no way that my basement could have filled up that. My basement was full, like it was coming, my entire basement was full of water, and it was coming up the stairs, and it was like less than 6 inches from coming into my main floor.
Right. Right.
Both of my vehicles were in my driveway, and one of my vehicles was totaled because water was in it, inside of the vehicle. And, you know, from a moral standpoint, from a moral standpoint, it's just horrible. They're wrong. They're wrong.
I
But
think
there's
their
just the
mission-
timing and their information, and I also sensed that they were frustrated that we weren't nodding, going, "Oh, thank you." You know, I could see the frustration on the city manager's face and hear it in his voice the longer the meeting went on. I'm just like, oh no.
I think that admission in that meeting that day was more, at least for me, where it was like, you've known this whole time, whether it's that you were going to deny our claim and that you knew the city wasn't going to cooperate with our side in any sort of agreement, you knew from day one. Just tell us from day one, because we, at that point, it's end of August, maybe even September, that we're dealing with this issue. So we could have taken action a lot sooner. We could have been doing this interview months ago. But they, after that, it was my impression that they were stringing us along when we are fully displaced in our home, in our personal lives. And that seems a little bit more malicious than setting up a meeting and here's resources that we don't even know if it will help, but if they see the booths and they see the people that, which the organizations that came to that meeting, where that's amazing that they were taking their time to do that, but from a city standpoint, it almost seems like they're checking things off a list, and then if anything comes back to them, they're like, well, look at this pretty little show that we did for them. But in that meeting, which probably might not shown of Mark Washington saying, yeah, we should have let you guys know sooner, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But continue to bring your resources so we can continue to deny the work.
Well,
I think that was more a show to say, this is this is everything that we're doing to help you, and it was not helping us at all.
Yeah.
No, and it was wrong place, wrong time. It should have been day one.
Yeah.
They, whether they are claiming governmental immunity and denying our claims in August or in June when it had originally happened, they still could have pulled those resources together a lot sooner.
well, I'm
It was
curious.
after we got upset and said, well, hey, you're doing nothing for us. We're all still living in chaos. We're all still dealing with everything we have to repair and replace and live through and still go on with our lives.
And this could happen to any neighborhood in Grand Rapids.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously
Oh, it
ours
will
was
happen.
definitely exponential. We're at the bottom of a hill and cars and feet and feet of water, but it doesn't matter the magnitude of the damage. I want to bring awareness that this could happen in any neighborhood within Grand Rapids, and you're going to submit a claim desperate for any sort of resource or help, and the city is going to deny it. So that is the awareness I want to bring now. We know the intentions of the city, but how can we almost make our neighbors aware this could happen to anyone in any neighborhood?
Absolutely.
In the sense of false hope. I mean, we left that meeting after the commission meeting, and I remember Mary and I walking out towards the back, and we were hugging, and we were thinking to ourselves, like, man, the city's really going to help us. They're really going to do something for us. And then you tell your loved ones, and you're just believing, like, I'm going to get my house fixed and things taken care of. And then to have that snatched away from you, it can send you in a downward spiral.
Jeremy, I kind of want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I was earlier. I was gonna say, just kind of bring it back to the night it happened. yeah, as far as like when the actual water started coming down, like it had to have been like pretty early because my wife actually woke up a couple times and thought she heard something and just kind of went back to bed. And then she is around 3 o'clock, maybe a touch after 3. Like she's like, "Hey, what's that sound?" And like I get up and look out our window. It's right there, and it's literally a lake there already. And just like, am I dreaming still? Like, what's up? And I just panic, kind of get up and yeah, we go downstairs and start trying to assess the situation. Yeah, it was just like basically chaos at that point, and trying to get stuff out of the basement. And right, both our cars got totaled from the water.
Wow.
Our basement had to get ripped up. Thankfully, ours didn't get filled up like some people's, but had to rip our carpet out and get it all dried and treated for mold, make sure it didn't get all moldy and stuff. So half finished basement. So we have a 3 and 5-year-old. So you know, that used to be their playroom. So that's
That was a
not
loss.
usable anymore.
Yeah.
Still, right, just kind of a mess. We guess still don't have the money to get it fixed up again. Had to get new cars, had to have a garage that got flooded, like tons of stuff in our garage that, you know, just lawn equipment and irreplaceable stuff like family photos. Like we had a big, like a bin of like old family photos that got messed up. That was still frustrating to think about, and records and, you know, just all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I mean, just that whole morning, just to get to the emotional side and like not just the financial side of it, like, yeah, it was like pretty horrible feeling, like just this water's rising. I can't do anything about it. I tried to save the stuff I could out of my basement. The cars we can't move because our driveway goes down deeper into it.
Breakers
couldn't
popping,
leave.
breakers
Yeah.
popping,
We
you
couldn't
know,
leave.
the
Pop,
electrical.
pop, 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 everything.
No,
Mhm.
we
But I
wanted
was-
to alert neighbors, and we didn't know what the water was. We didn't know if it was sewer or fresh water at that
Yeah.
point anyways. And I'm like, you know, there's an older couple across the street from us that, I mean, what are we gonna do? I'm a kidney transplant patient, so I can't go in the water. I can't even touch dirt on a good day. So it was traumatic and
Yeah.
terrible.
That's why
So
what's interesting is the call log you said, the timing of it when they said that the water happened at this time, broke at this
They
time.
lied.
That's false. I know
It
that
was-
because I called
Right.
911.
Yeah.
It wasn't when they said. It was.
Now,
So.
I did want to touch on real quick, Mark Washington, after one of the city commission meetings downtown Grand Rapids, Mark Washington said to news cameras that I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing more than just sending claim denial letters to the residents.
I am certain we will do more than just sending a claim denial letter to help our residents. Quote me on that.
Do you guys feel like that's still the case?
No, I don't.
It was just that one meeting, I think.
Yep,
That
yep.
that was it. And then I think he mentioned if we start bringing in our own separate lawyers onto the table, that he has to remove himself from the conversation due to legal reasons. And we have not, honestly,
Which he
have
knew
not
that.
heard from him since.
He knew
Right.
that.
Yeah. So.
Well, that was
no.
the whole point of that meeting, and we left that, he said to us, have your lawyers contact the city attorney, and we'll see what we can work out.
Right.
So we left with hope at
They
that
go
time.
away. They
False
go away at the
hope.
time, said
False
the same
hope.
thing to us. We
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
the conversation is get an attorney,
Yeah.
retain an attorney, have them contact the city, and we can start the conversation.
Right.
Start
Which is
working
like,
it out.
additional
oh, okay.
money that we, on top of the money that we've already have been paying for the damages, this is additional money that
Right.
Yeah.
we're paying, as we were most likely going to go that route anyways, but it was very encouraged by the city. When are we going to get an email from them? When are we going to receive a
That's
phone
true.
call? And at one point, I think Jasmine said, this takes time to put together. There's 12 homes, 13 homes that needs to come to an agreement. And this is additional money that everybody needs to come up with to start this process. But they were very persistent. When are you coming to the table?
Right.
When are you coming to the table? to the point where it was almost insulting of like, we need
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and that's honestly what any attorney would tell us too.
Their
Nothing.
response, their
Nothing.
response was that they don't have substantiated amount of damages yet from us.
We gave them
when we
that.
all submitted insurance
We gave them
claims
that.
with
Right.
the total amount of damages to them, and they're still relying on that fact for not responding to us for what they can do for a settlement or anything else. We'll respond
And
on.
still standing sound on governmental immunity.
Yeah.
At least
And some of you guys are, Larry, I know we've talked about this in the past, but you're running out of time. And this is a very long process, but it's not like you guys have that much time to spare with your
Right.
homes.
Right.
I know I think you were assessed over $100,000. You're assessed just about the amount of money that it cost you to buy your home. I think it was, what, 11 years ago?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
And it could be decreasing now because
Of
our
course it
property
is.
value, like who's going to want to stay in an area that's got
Flooding.
and I know we kind of touched
bad
on,
infrastructure?
I know we just kind of touched on it a little bit, but what was it like seeing, and I think in a little bit we'll see it in the monitor behind me, but seeing the water main break yesterday? Was it like, here we go again?
It was a flashback. I was so emotional. That's why I call you. I said, oh my God, is there water in my basement? And so that's the first thing I ran downstairs and I just looked. I just stood there. And then I came back upstairs and then I called Larry. I said, okay, so what's going on now? But it was just like a flashback of what had happened in June.
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, I get that every day. I go down the basement and I open the
So do I.
door. And what, is something going to happen here? And I always check, okay, it's still dry.
Yeah,
Every
it's
day,
still dry.
every
I
single
do.
day.
And I think it's
I do.
if any of us see a city truck in our area,
Oh, yeah.
it just feels like
Yeah,
bad
it
news.
does.
It feels like something's broke,
Yeah.
and they're trying to fix something.
And
But
it's not just, is another water main break going to come and flood? Well, that is a piece, but what my head is going to, because we are seeing leakage in our foundation due to the damage of the city water main break. So now our basement might be cleared and dried, but there's snow on the ground. That snow is going to melt.
Yep.
Where's it going to go? Back into our basement. And that's something that's going to happen every single season unless we continue to pay out of pocket for all of these damages. So we will continue to see some sort of water leakage because all of our homes are damaged. Even though you look inside right now and everything seems dry, heavy rainfall, snow melting, that's going to happen every single time this happens. So we're going to continue to see that in our homes, and it's just going to continue to just crumble our foundation.
That's
Does that
true.
reinforce your point of this can happen to you because it's
Yeah.
happened twice in my neighborhood?
Yes. Oh, 100%. It's happened in, I think water main breaks has happened in the past. I think this has been almost like a once in a lifetime. There's been workers that said, we have never seen this magnitude of a water main break. But whether you have 4 feet of water or 3 inches of water, that is still detrimental to a household.
It is.
And there's never going to be accountability with the city. And the process to get to the point to figure out how this happened, whether it's negligence or whatever that may be, 1 is physically and mentally daunting, 2, and very expensive. So the city is going to keep hiding behind this governmental immunity because to get to this point that we are still doing and still fighting is a lot. It's a lot of our time, it's a lot of our day, it's a lot of our money, it's mental drainage. Jasmine and I were with each other for an hour and a half after a 9-hour day of work. Like, we are always talking, we're doing interviews. It takes a lot to get to this point, and we still are at the beginning of it. There's still a long road ahead of us to get some sort of answer or resolution, but I think that's what I think about the Grand Rapids community is that's tough on anyone. And water main breaks can happen anywhere. So the fact that they have this immunity piece is really just showing that we're just going to cover our butts and it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. But we don't see any updates of pipes. The only update we've seen is when ours burst and they spent weeks fixing the underground infrastructure, but clearly there's other spots that are dealing with the same issue, and these pipes may have not even been replaced for
Years.
50 plus years.
Years.
1945 was the number that they saw on the pipe.
And Wayne Jernberg said, I think during that meeting, that the one that cracked in, I think, the 10-foot section, 24-inch diameter pipe that was installed in the 1940s.
Yep. I think I confirmed in that meeting, the circle meeting, I don't know why we call it that, when he said that there was almost like a zipper pull from the pipe, and I asked, is that due to corrosion from an old pipe that should have been replaced? And he said, you could assume that. It's probably on video somewhere, but wasn't aired, so.
Yeah. And I know we can sit in the circle and talk about this all night. But just kind of wrapping up here in just a little bit, I did want to ask, I know you guys are working on a GoFundMe or an online fundraiser. Does anyone want to talk about that?
Yeah, so as a collective group, there are 12 to 13 households that have set up a GoFundMe. This is to help alleviate any legal fees going forward, to help with any damages that have been incurred that we are still incurring, to try and help, you know, have some resolution in this if we can. It will, I think it will be very beneficial to show the city that, hey, you know, like, we still are hurting and we are in pain and we are living in chaos. You may not see it, but our houses are still a mess. Our stuff is displaced, our stuff is lost, our stuff is gone forever, and we're here to ask the community for help and the city. They should be held responsible.
And this happened in June, but this is the start of the process for us. This is not
7 months later.
7 months later. This is where we feel like we're really kicking it into gear to try and find a resolution.
Right.
Yeah, 7 months later.
You know,
Just about to ask, do you
Step
guys
one.
feel like the city has abandoned you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Mark
100%.
Washington is treating it like a business versus a government that answers to the constituents, and obviously that's why we're still here now, waiting for money.
And I'm sure, and I'm assuming, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but it's like, okay, once they did all the assessing of the information, how did they come to the conclusion that they were claiming government immunity? Was it like something they put forth the evidence and then they voted as a group, the commissioners and the administration? Like, who was involved in that final decision that, nope, we're not gonna honor these claims and we are going to claim immunity? So
Well, it sounds like you guys weren't even explained why they're claiming governmental immunity.
not why, no.
I
just
mean,
that they
just
have
what
it.
was in the
Yeah,
letter.
they can. It's not in the budget to pay out our claims, so they're not going to pay it out and claim government immunity.
You touched on something today about the amphitheater, the soccer stadium,
Yeah.
that the city's allocating resources to all of these projects
Yes.
that, you know, I know a lot of people in the city of Grand Rapids are excited about these projects, but you guys look at the city investing all this money and you think, why not us?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Invest in the infrastructure.
Plus,
like,
they're using our money
Yeah.
to do
And
this.
we're excited about these things. I mean, I'd love to have an amphitheater and a soccer team, and we love the buzz in the city. I mean, we love our city, and
We love our homes.
for them to allocate those resources towards that when you got a whole community that is literally in survival mode. Like I said in the last commission meeting, can you make this make sense?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
No. We have to pay our taxes, we have to mow our lawns, we have to shovel our, we have to shovel the sidewalks
We
and
have to get
stuff.
the water out of our basement.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that,
We have to pay for our water bills.
right, we have to pay for the services the city provides to us. We have to make sure we're not late on that stuff. We have to pay our taxes. I can't just go to my mortgage company and say, yeah, don't, just nix that, They don't get their tax money. We don't have a choice, so.
Yeah.
You're paying for properties that are ruined from a city issue. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we started with hope, and then that definitely dwindled and went away, and
That's a
it
good way
feels
to
more
put it.
like resistance. And yeah, like, we have, before that happened, like, we had home projects. We're hoping to fix up our home better, just kind of have a list, and then all of a sudden,
Gone.
just
Gone.
tons more. Like, just devastation happens and you're just
Yeah.
left
As
like
when
just
that water receded,
and
things just got worse.
so it's like now we're way lower, a lot more to fix than we had before, and then that doesn't stop new stuff from coming up. We just had to do new plumbing to our house and stuff, and so great, more debt to be in and bills to pay, and it's depressing and draining and frustrating. And
The
all
children don't understand this. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to be, my daughter's supposed to be playing with Barbies. Your kids are supposed to be playing this. It's taking a mental toll on her. She's asking, Dad, are we going to lose our home? That she should not be thinking or even talking about that. But it's literally, my emotions are spilling over into, what she hears daily.
Because she knows something's wrong.
Because she knows Dad's not right now.
And just kind of wrapping up here, is there anything else anybody wants to kind of touch on before
Yes.
we?
They tore out everything out of the basement, so now you can feel this draft coming upstairs. And we're using more heat.
No, I have no
You know,
insulation, zero insulation under my
No
floorboards.
insulation. So it's just like cold all the time.
It's been a trickle effect from what we incurred on June 13th to where we're at now. It's daily finding new areas that we need to repair, replace, daily having to deal with everyday life and then trying to make everything okay again. It's
And we're taking
daunting.
matters into our own hands now, starting, like, we're not relying on the city for any sort of hope. We're kind of taking that back, and we're going to try and help that for us. And that's why we're here. That's why we all worked for 48 hours straight on this GoFundMe, putting it together, getting the right message out, because we are now going to take charge. And we're going to control the narrative. And we, again, this is where it begins for us. And we're really going to amplify it and make sure that we get righted.
This is,
Well
definitely,
put.
we're not gonna go away quietly.
Exactly.
And we're not gonna give up.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I think that ends our discussion for tonight. Again, thank you all for
Thank you.
joining us, and
Yeah,
we'll have
thank
a
you.
link to that GoFundMe on the story on our website, 13onyourside.com. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.